Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome to a high level best of 5 today between Clem in the bottom left playing for Team Liquid, in the blue Trunks, and in the top right as our red Zerg player playing for Ants. It is Serral. Cheeky best of 5 over here with the first game being played on Data C. And on Data C is where it goes down, or at least that's what I've heard. Clem in a bit of an interesting position lately when it comes to the Terran versus Zerg matchup, where he's kind of returned to form and also to his former style, I want to say. When Clem initially came up in this matchup in the period, well, what should I say, like maybe May 2020 until pretty much February 2021, there was this period where Clem hardly ever lost a Terran versus Zerg. Back then he was playing this heavy mine style, focused on having groups of units on the map in combination with Widow mines, and trying to trade efficiently the entire time and then eventually just completely killing your opponent through multitasking. After a while Clem stopped that, started focusing more on tank build orders. He probably struggled a little bit with roaches in certain games as well, where if you go straight into mines and don't get any tank, your opponent roach all-ins, you can really struggle with that. But Clem said, you know what, I kind of want to try that again because I love doing that, those little drops. Because the problem with tanks is that you can still show off your multitasking, but whenever you drop, so imagine you have like a double medevac drop over here, it's just going to be Marines, which is not quite as powerful. The mines are a huge deterrent for Lynx and Balings just to rush in to clear a drop up. So mines are always great to have. The problem with tanks is that tanks, they don't work so well individually. Tanks work well together. If you're gonna make an attack with tanks, that often is very committed to a single location. You get 5-6 tanks in one location and all of your Marines over there. It's a very different type of style, and it's a style that Clem doesn't seem to enjoy as much, or at least isn't quite as solid with as he used to be with that mine style. But lately, we've seen a bit of a return to form to that former mine style, and I'm curious if we're going to be seeing that here on Data C as well. So Data C is of course a map where it is going to be completely possible to play something like that on. You have a lot of nice areas where on top of a ramp you place a mine, or in one of these, the purple bushes in the middle of the map. You can place a mine there. That's absolutely fantastic. Now, first Reaper is coming out here for Clem and is going to try and take out one of these Lynx. It's not quite succeeding, and this first creep tumor most likely is going to be thrown down relatively easily as well. Clem is very keen on delaying that, but it's just not realistic. If there is a ramp leading up in towards the natural, it is just too easy to throw down the creep tumor. Some quick patrol movement here coming out of the Reaper as well, making sure that nothing is leaving this ramp to go across the map. Sees the queen and immediately pulls back a little bit. Speed is on the way here for Serral. See a triple CC. Now this is just the kind of the golden standard here for Clem. This could go either into a Viking or more likely into something along the lines of a double Banshee. It is just super common for the French Terran player to open with a triple CC opener with some light harass from 2 starport units with 6 to 8 Hellions as well. He has been a little bit more keen lately on trying to drive by with the cars. So where before he'd get a bunch of Hellions out and just kind of try to control the creep and later on deal with Ling run-bys with those Hellions. Nowadays it does feel like Clem is like, okay, if I see an opportunity, if I smell an opportunity, I don't mind going for a drive-by, taking out a couple of these drones with my cars. Like, he seems a little bit keen on that. He's moving very aggressively around with these initial units already. There's a Liberator as a follow-up here. Just straight Liberator, no Viking as a start. It's interesting to note that there is no Viking. And that means that scouting is going to be free. We also see a Roach Warren coming out of Serral here. I'm not sure if that's going to be some type of defensive Roach Warren, but as we're seeing triple Overlords being built, I do believe this is going to be some type of a Roach attack here. And looking at the gas count, it could be 9, maybe 10 Roaches. 11 also still possible, depending on how many Ravagers he wants to get with his army, of course. Here come the Hellions, looking for that drive-by that I was talking about earlier. 4 cars take out a bunch of these Lynx, are going to spot the Roach Warren right now. Evo Chamber block is going to stop these Hellions from doing too much. Another decent Evo Chamber block here. Will not quite complete the final one though. A lot of drones going down already. 6, 7, and here the first Roach pops as well. 8 workers being taken out here. At the same time immediately scouting the fact that the Roaches are being produced. Now it's only going to be 3 Roaches, so the response here out of Clem probably shouldn't be too you know, too grand. I don't want to see 5 bunkers being thrown up, but a single bunker I think would not be... That would not be overly safe, would it? Clem doesn't give a crap. Clem reads this game and says, alright buddy, what you got for me? And Serral says, well, no, honestly, not much. That's wild, no? That is actually quite wild. He just ignores this. What? Liberator's over here. Has taken a bit of damage already. I must have missed that during the Hellion move. I can't believe how easily Clem just said, okay, I don't actually want to build anything against it. He must have seen drone spot or something. Because this is usually considered quite a risky move. If you don't build a bunker or anything really to deal with roaches, that could hurt you later on in the game. But right now, 1-1 upgrade's about to finish up for Clem here. We have absolutely nothing on the side of Serral. I mean, it's 6 queens, 3 roaches, 10 lings. There's already a significant force out here for Clem, with Stim, soon to have 2 medevacs as well the moment they start. And this army can start moving across the map with double tanks, with this marine count. Honestly, I'm a little bit afraid here for Serral. I'm not so sure if he's going to be capable of holding that first push. He needs to cut workers really early. He's going for Glial Reconstitution, double Evo Chambers as well, and an infestation pit. So really just trying to double down on those, most likely the range upgrades and roaches, hydras, eventually going into lurkers. I think that is the one thing that I can really see here. Roaches just to stay alive, and then later on getting those... Oh, maybe infestors is also a possibility, of course. It is something we see every now and again. Now, 2 evos are done. As this push hits, fort base gets cancelled. Clem is going to deny his opponent's fort base mining. There is 71 workers, so there's some slight oversaturation going on. Clem right now is helping Serral with that, saying, you have too many drones? I have a trick for that here. Stand in the big circle. Trust me, it's fun. Nothing bad will happen to you. Don't worry, buddy. 3 drones get taken out here. Combat shield, infantry armor level 1, finishes up as well. Clem coming in for perhaps another push. There's no medevacs yet with this. There's just a single medevac. This is a huge army though, isn't it? Holy crap. That's 40 marines against 14 roaches. Now, a lot of people are afraid of roaches, but if it's just 14, I don't know. 3 tanks as well. Like, this has some big power in this army. There really is some big power in this army. To me, it feels like Clem is kind of moving to victory here. No upgrades whatsoever on these roaches. No carapace, no nothing. Hive is about to finish up. But Vipers aren't going to be super useful here if you don't have a single roach to actually kill the Marines either. Fort tank shows up. Fort base gets cancelled for a second time. Clem keeps stimming on forward and very rapidly as well moves in, leapfrogging those tanks. And I think that is a very big thing as well. Yep, there we go. GG gets called. Clem wins game number 1 as Serral is forced to leave. Here we are in our second game on Moondance, and we see Serral actually opening up with a pool first here. So that spawning pool is the first structure rather than the hatchery. And this is a bit of an odd move, as there are 2 things that Clem doesn't really do. The first thing is proxy raxing. He doesn't really proxy rax. And the second thing he doesn't really do is no scout. He almost always scouts after barracks. I want to say 99% of his games against Zerg, he SCV scouts. And does this type of pool first opener, there has to be something extra there. Like there is a reason why Serral was playing this. He knows this about Clem as well, right? So you know some type of roach all-in isn't going to end up working. And we're actually seeing what Serral has planned over here. He wants to play a gasless fast third base. So that is the switch up here, and I kind of like that. Clem will need to respect that. He doesn't go in with the SCV. Oh no, he's trying to, but I don't think he's going to be capable of. Yeah, he needs to figure out that this is gasless, otherwise he might build a blind bunker. He'll probably continue marine production rather than going straight into a reactor. That is not completely uncommon here. We'll have to wait and see. No, it's actually going for the reactor. Wow. Clem feeling fairly confident here in his read. It's impressive when you see this type of stuff. He's making a read right now saying, alright, I know Serral a little bit. What would Serral do over here? Probably taking the hatch in the far back, not allowing me to scout it, but I don't think this is an actual roach attack. And here, Clem is completely correct about that as well. The Reaper is going to make its way across the map. The third CC is already on the way. So, at the end of the day, this is just a painful little moment here for Serral, where his mind game his little trick didn't really work out. Clem is going to scout this, sees that there's drones being built and drones being finished, knows that there's no roaches right now, is going to be very happy with his decisions here in the early game. And look at that, it's going to be a 4 Hellion into fast 2 barracks play. There's an interesting build order that we don't see that much. And the main purpose of this, often when I see Clem play it, is to try and drive by with some of these cars. But against a gasless Zerg, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Does manage to snipe that one creep tumor there, which is actually kind of big. Those snipes, they often feel very annoying for the Zerg, because you want to spread the creep in many different directions. And that's something he's not going to be capable of doing right now. Okay, it's actually just going to be 2 cars. Wow. Okay. 2 cars into that barracks. Very, very cool. Let's see what he's going to be doing with these 2 bad boys. Probably just kind of wants to control the creep a little bit. He can't do too much if the back base is being taken anyway, right? We do see a second gas on the way, so this is starting to feel a little bit to me like it's going to be a 9 roach attack. We do have 3 overlords on the way as well. I guess it makes some sense, because Serral didn't really get to play the build last game. Kind of got shut down by that Hellion run by that we saw. Clem is moving in with this Reaper right now. 3 overlords about to finish up. And should scout the second gas. Is not going to get the info on the second gas at all. It's just going to be more and more drones here. Okay, wait, what? This is just such a confusing game, even as an observer here. You could say that Clem actually is making a lot of the right calls because he isn't scouting some things. Like, if Clem would be aware that there's a roach warren as well as a fast second gas, it wouldn't completely surprise me if he throws down a bunker, you know, and wants to immediately start into tank production here. But that's not the case, because he's completely unaware. Ignorance truly is bliss sometimes. As he made the correct plays here without really knowing why or what happened. A couple of roaches are on the way. This is a fast layer into a pretty late initial evo chamber. Second evo chamber is on the way. I'm so curious if this is going to be carapace, if this is going to be melee upgrades. Like, what are we actually going to be seeing here coming out of Serral, who is already on 60 workers and is now building his first bunch of roaches, really. 9, 10, 11-ish maybe. Now we're looking at 12 roaches here coming out of Clem. Lair has already finished up. There's no bailing nest. It is just going to be a roach max. So, yeah, Serral just feeling comfortable with these roach builds, I guess. It's interesting to see. Is that a 4cc? Holy crap, that's fast. Wait, what is this? This is 3 racks into 4cc. This is extremely un-Clem-like. This is one of these builds that you almost never see. Someone like Bunny might pull it out. Someone like Spirit might pull it out, but honestly, Clem, Hero Marine, Maru almost never play like this. They much prefer getting the extra units from barracks 4 and 5 faster before getting that 4th command center. As this time around, Clem is going to be scanning a little bit of creeps. There's not a Malon. None of that carpet over here. The Zerg carpet is going to get pushed back, at least temporarily. I think there's plenty of queens. 5. That's actually not that many. There's very little queens. So you have a ping-ponging motion here coming out of Clem, saying, alright, you're downstairs trying to defend your creep, I'll go upstairs trying to kill your drones. I think Clem actually realized that there's a relatively low queen count, and when the royalty isn't around, Marines often manage to deal quite a bit of damage, and medevacs kind of have free game when it comes to picking up as well. 8 drones are going to get taken out. There's a kind of a 1-2 punch with those Hellions, and then the Marines in the main base at the same time, spreading the attention of Serral thin, which is also an important resource in StarCraft 2, of course. Probably the most important mental resource that there is. Now, 4TC is already moving over here, as we have continued pressure coming out of Clem, who starts with a lot of tanks here and moves into Marauders as well. Very quickly. Is this, okay, there's another reactor. So it's going to be double tech lab, triple reactor. That means we can produce 2 Marauders as well as 6 Marines at the same time. And at the same time probably playing double factory with a tech lab per factory, which means there's going to be a lot of tanks, there's going to be a lot of Marines, going to be a lot of Marauders. Could be kind of trying to transition into a 2-2 timing push, or could want to try and go into a later game. We'll have to wait and see what it actually is going to end up being, as this hive has started right now, and Serral's position feels, well, at least more comfortable than last game around, right? This is a million times better for him. Last game he was already dead around this time, so
Yeah, it's definitely better. Like, there's no doubt in my mind about that. 168 supply against 148. Clem really struggling to find any damage whatsoever, which sucks for him. Also, taking this as a planetary rather than an orbital makes me believe that he wants to move out at some point in the near future, because otherwise I feel like you just much rather get an orbital there if you're planning on being very defensive with high tank count. It also doesn't really feel like Clem to sit at home and do nothing. He's a player that is very keen on making moves, very keen on attacking, loves to deny creep and then push where he denied the creep before. First you clear the road and then you can race, and that's exactly what Clem likes to do. Going to get hit there by a Baneling. Control here out of Serral is phenomenal though. Comes to splitting his army, pre-splitting links. We see a bunch of links in the main base. Creep threat is pushing forward slowly but surely, especially on that left side. There are some very ambitious creep tumors that want more than just to stay around their hatchery, where they were born. They're like, I can go very far, and as long as they get left alone by the squad of Marines, they actually can go very far. They can do way more than anyone ever imagined. Even more than the Queen when she laid that creep tumor. Tear in my eye. So much potential in these tumors. Alright, 24 Banelings on the way. Actually 11 more, so it's going to bring the total up to 41 once those finish. Adrenal Glands coming out, Vipers are out. I think this push is simply too late. Don't want to be a bit of a doomer here, but it does feel like this push is somewhat doomed here for Clem. Like, by the time he's actually hitting something that matters, there's going to be like 95 Banelings, Adrenal Glands, every upgrade in the book is going to be done. This is a fight just before Carapace finishes, just before Adrenal Glands. I guess it's going to finish midway through. Good Blinding Clouds coming out of Serral. Tank count gets absolutely destroyed here. A lot of the Banes do end up falling as well, but Clem's army supply is just down the freaking gutter right now. He's going to try and push forward before more Banelings arrive, but 15 Banelings are out already. Can start moving forward. The tank count is not here anymore, as the first Ultra is also being constructed. One more Blinding Cloud is available. Perhaps it's going to be a Parasitic Bomb rather than that. No, Blinding Cloud it is. Doesn't really do all that much. Yet Clem will get pushed back very, very convincingly here by the Finnish Zerg player, who will now probably want to try and consider taking a 6th base at some point in the near future. 5 bases is nice, but we all know about the golden rule of bases. It's always better to have one more base than before. So if you're on 5 bases, you'd much rather have 6. And if you have 6, you'd much rather have 7. There are very little scenarios in the life of a Zerg player where a Zerg player wants to have less bases. Perhaps in scenarios where there are lots of Brute Lords out and it's difficult to kind of move around and defend everything. But otherwise, the more bases, the merrier is definitely one of the things you could say about Zerg. Now, there are some Ultras out, and I'm starting to wonder if Clem is ready for an Ultra attack. Because it does feel like there is some possibilities for that, right? Like, why not? You just managed to destroy a lot of the tank count. There are still some Vipers around. The Ghost count and Marauder count is going to suck as well, because you have hardly seen any Marauders whatsoever. This is another command center here being constructed, and it's going to get cancelled immediately. Serral moves in. You see a Blinding Cloud. 2 of the tanks will get, basically demolished by that Blinding Cloud. And then, of course, the Roach is coming in clutch as well. Banelings will start connecting with a lot of Marines. Planetary will end up dying, as Serral in a fantastic position here to take this game. I'm not sure if he has enough sustain in this push to actually finish it, or if Clem can survive, but this definitely is a massive swing in favor of Serral here, who is just going to end up being just very, 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 very far ahead. 31 workers go down. Cloak is on the way. Another thing that we should note, of course, is that Clem's prime time is not really in the late game. Like, Clem is good in the late game, but Serral is fantastic in the late game. And there are other Terran players that are fantastic in the late game. People like Maru. I want to say Bian is a really, really good camper. He has absolutely mastered the skill of doing nothing for long periods of time. Playing Terran in the late game is very similar to meditation. Like, there's really not that much happening, and yet you continuously need to be paying attention to something. In meditation, the breath, with Terran in the late game, making sure that you don't fall asleep, and your opponent's Banelings can get the connections on the Ghost. Now, these tanks are going to siege up in the far back. GG gets called as Serral wins game number 2. in his best of 5. And in game number 3 here, we find ourselves on Cosmic Sapphire. We often hear that diamonds are a girl's best friend, but Cosmic Sapphire is Zerg's best friend. As, you know, it's a good map for Zerg against Terran. I think Zerg's also like against TOS, honestly. It's just overall a nice map for Zerg. Like, you have some open areas where you can set some nice run-bys, you can set up some nice flanks, some nice attacks. There's a lot of bases as well. There's a rich Vespine geyser, which is one of those things that Zergs absolutely love. They love gas. They absolutely love gas. So you can say a lot of things about Zergs, but they really do love their gas. Whenever there's a map with a rich Vespine geysers, you always know that they're gonna try and go for it. This map is actually kind of difficult. It's a 6th base, I think, realistically, right? 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, something along them lines. Interesting stuff. All right, queens moving forward. We'll push this back as the 3rd queen also pops out over here, and 2 more get constructed immediately. Clem has... actually, what is Clem doing here? He's getting a starport this time around after last game's failure. Well, failure. It wasn't even the early game that went that poor for him. I felt like the early game, if anything, was kind of okay. Lots of roaches were built. Just wasn't enough pressure. Felt like... yeah, he didn't really know what to do against the roaches, and that sucks, of course, for him. There is a Banshee on the way right now. Are we going to see Cloak? I think we will. We definitely are seeing an orbital command here, and that's also fairly important. Cloak indeed is going to start getting research right about now. Metabolic boost on the way. And we just have to wait and see as to what is about to happen here with Serral. So far, very keen on that Roach Warren, and getting roaches out. Didn't work the first game, definitely worked the second game. As I think this is a concept at very high level play, which is interesting to explore. Because we don't see it too often, but it really feels like Clem's prime area is in the mid game, especially when he gets to build Widow Mines. So the moment you get to kind of take him out of that mid game zone, that dropping mass mine, mass marine, lots of marauders mixed, or well, not lots, but a couple of marauders mixed in there later on as well. If you can kind of get him out of that zone by getting 10, 15, 16 roaches early on to make him believe that it is going to be some type of roach push, forcing out tanks. Yeah, I think that is generally a good play. Now, there's of course something to be said for Banshee openers for Clem as well in that scenario. And I think this is actually a response to the roach openers that we have seen so far. We'll get into that after we see these Hellions turn back home. Killed a couple of Lings, lost 1 Hellion. Not a bad trade whatsoever, but they're fairly bruised. They've been battered around over here. They need to be repaired in the next couple of minutes so they can continue their fight for the good fight. But yeah, the Banshees basically stop any type of roach push, I would say. So the moment you see roaches and you have Banshees out, you're going to be quite happy because, you know, roaches don't shoot up. That's one of the main characteristics of the roaches. The one thing a lot of people know, it's like, well, it's a range unit, but it doesn't actually shoot up. It does seem weird, but then again, I'm not a Star Trek 2 lore master. It also makes some sense, right? Just not enough power. Roaches have like a heavy acid attack, and acid is probably pretty difficult to shoot up into the air that much. Or if you think of like a Hydra, it's like basically spitting, you know? You can spit up pretty far into the air. It's the difference between spitting and puking, I think. Like what roaches do is closer to puking, and Hydras really are just spitting. I can spit pretty far into the air, but puking, to be honest, I've never really tried how high that could get. Sometimes it does feel there's quite some force, but you always tend to aim it down anyway, so it's difficult to say what the actual power is there. I already know that after this game I'm going to Google if there's a world record in the highest puke possible. I bet there's some guy that did this for the Guinness Book of World Records. It really wouldn't surprise me. I'll give all of you the update in the next game on that. As we're waiting for stuff to really start kicking off here. We see some Hellion movement back and forth. 18 Lings have gone down, 1 Hellion has gone down. These benches are going to pick off 5 workers. 2, 3, 2 more will go down somewhere else. I'm fairly certain of that. As they're backing themselves into a little bit of a corner. That's not necessarily bad because sometimes if you're in a corner, people can't hit you there, and that is a good thing. Ooh, that queen goes down actually. That queen is definitely worth 2 drones, so my prediction already has been correct. If he gets 2 more drones now, then it's double correct. Oh my god, this is ridiculous. Don't shoot again. Yeah, this is great. He gets 5 drone kills and a queen kill. So, completely correct. I already was correct, and now I'm even more correct. Double correct. 2 golden stars for Kevin. Beautiful stuff. 1-1 upgrades have finished up here for Clem. They haven't quite finished up for the opponent yet. And here we see the mines coming into play. And now, this is immediately a different vibe in this game. You know, it feels like Clem is just across the map doing stuff. So different from what we've seen in the previous game, where yes, there is something on the map, but it doesn't really scare anyone. Like Serral looks at that and starts laughing. Even Clem knows it's not real. You know, he's like, alright, like his 16 Marines, they're not really gonna kill a player that's won more than $1 million. Uh-oh, no response coming out of Clem. 10 workers go down here. This is a scary push, though. Carapace level 1 is about to finish up. Good splits again coming out of Clem here on creep with these mines. As the supply for Serral has dropped significantly here. This is just going to straight up kill Serral. Move. No, maybe not straight up kill Serral. It felt like it though for a second. The last second splits there as well. Splitting those backlinks away from the main clump. So you have a scan for it. This Banshee is not entirely sure what to do. Studied art history for 3 years. Now can't really find a job there. So she's gonna kind of idle here in between 3 bases. That's allowed. Now figure out what you want to do with your life. There's another Ling run by coming into this 3rd base. And there's some Marines which are in position. This is so different from the last games, isn't it? Such an aggressive playstyle here coming out of Clem, and really seeing those mines come in handy. Banshee has actually managed to deal some damage. Found a job in HR maybe. Worked there for a little bit, then goes back home, gets repaired, because this is a draining job. Starting to get into the red as well. It's going to fly over towards the 4th base here, which is turning into a planetary. It's going to be just fine, just safe over there. 2-2 will finish. Ooh. Wait, did Carapace get cancelled? I swear that I saw Carapace on the way already. Surely it got cancelled here. And that is not good. That is really just not good. Planetary finish up in 3, 2, 1. 2 big shots, 8 links go down. Banshee gets a couple extra kills here as well. 3 workers do end up falling, as well as a sensor tower. Another Baneling run by. I am loving this play out of Serral here. Just so active with these Baneling run bys. Here comes a double drop with mines, but the splits are good. Well, I mean, there was like 7 drones here. Even if he wouldn't have split, he would have lost 5 drones. Maybe even less. So then the splits weren't good. I mean, there were splits, but I'm not sure it was necessary. I don't think it did very much. 152 supply against 182. Don't forget that army supply is fairly close though. The mine count is low, but at the same time, upgrade in favor of Clem. Ooh. Run back. I think there will need to be a pickup here at some point. There needs to be a pickup. Baneling's getting way too many connections. Way too many connections for these Banelings. I mean, it's not terrible for Clem. He has better upgrades, like I mentioned. He needs to start 3-3. Yeah, there we go. And also, this area is completely empty. There's no creep here whatsoever. Not a single creep tumor. So this ramp is Clem's, right? He can claim that. Put the flag down. Serral's not going to be capable of touching that flag. Unless he needs to give a couple of, Zergling lives for that. But this position is gone. And this is such an important position in this game. The moment more and more mines are going to come in, I think this watchtower into that ramp is just, oof. Wouldn't want to be a Zerg player fighting into that. It's good that Serral already moves up here right now and says, hey, I want to pre-clear a couple of these mines on the topside area. This is a very unfortunate timing for Clem. Half of his army is on the right side of the map. Banelings are not going to really get connected with by these mines, as this marine drop is running in right now, looking for a little bit of damage. Will take out a creep tumor or 2, maybe 3 even. And a mine gets a couple of shots off as well, a couple of link kills, but this really isn't all that good. What is this? 15 Banelings being morphed? Yep, 15 Banelings being morphed. They're going to be running in here once again, and no sensor tower means that this is going to go down. And Clem needs to respond fast. He is not responding fast enough. Loses 5, loses 10. And perhaps even a little bit more. Yeah, mine's actually getting fairly damaged here. As Carapace level 2 is finally about to finish up. Despite what feels like a lot of good run-bys here, it still kind of feels okay for Clem. I mean, yes, he lost 41 workers, but Ooh, okay. Medevac stays alive. I feel like these mines have been trading well for him. Yeah, this army's going to get taken out. This was risky. This was weird. Just straight up moving on. Creep there is going to get cleaned up. Now we still have this army on the left side. Oh my god, this guy. You're ready to retire, my friend. You're old now. It's time to go. He's going to fly towards the left side, denying a little bit more creep over there. Woo! That's a single baneling mine. It's one of these things you don't really see because it doesn't kill anything. There's actually no purpose. It's like having just a single part of a train track on one side, and you have a train that requires two of them. You know, two of them rails. It's not going to be the case here. Single vein just has no purpose. No purpose whatsoever. Double Vipers on the way. Lurker Den. What is this? 50% done. Something along them lines. Finally, we get the double sensor towers. Clem has been playing a very aggressive game. Should probably be setting up for his final hooray, kind of, before the lurkers come out. That's really a key point in these games often, is the pre-lurker timing. There's going to be +3. There's not going to be +3 on Carapace. There's not going to be +3 on melee attack. Adrenal is going to finish up though, which actually does suck by itself already as well. Okay, this Baneling run by is going to get, well, not necessarily blasted, but it's going to get spotted at least here. This is the opposite of getting blasted. This Baneling run by is blasting a lot of stuff by itself. These mines get taken out here. We have 44 Banelings, and here come the Vipers as well. Let's take a look at the first person for Clem here. He spots the army on the top side, is trying to micro against these Banelings over here as well. Top side army is moving in right now. There is an army in position. Can we get some target fire on these Banes with the Planetary? The answer is going to be no, not necessary maybe. Mines get good connections. Planetary will end up falling. Army towards the left side though now is looking to take out that gold base at least. We have another command center ready already. Creep in the middle is kind of coming back, is creeping forward in a way that only creep really can. I feel like the medevac count is low. Is that true? No, it's at 9. That isn't really that low, but maybe not properly distributed? Nah, it seems fine as well. It felt like a lot of units were kind of low. Not even the case though. Just made it up in my head. Yeah. The best things get made up in the head. Because literally everything gets made up in the head. Turret's going to get taken out, but the turret shows something, right? It shows an awareness out of Clem here that he knows that there's going to be lurkers on the way soon. So that is good. We see tanks in production already as well. We see ghosts being built right now, and this base is not going to lift until, yeah, you scan over there. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Look at this Banshee. 18 kills. What a beautiful unit. I hope it doesn't end up dying like this. That's very sad for the Banshee. 18 kills though. It's a very respectable age to retire at. Or well, in this case, die. A lot longer than the... Ooh! Nice. Do like that. Do like that. I love that the Terran response to being hit by Baneling mines always is to scan afterwards. That's like putting on a condom after you got the baby already. Like, it doesn't do that much anymore. We have a couple of ghosts here. What is this ghost? I was trying to count the ghosts. Then I realized I could just open the unit tab or control click them. It's 4 ghosts here in this army. There's only 5 bases right now for Clem though. Am I counting that correct? Yeah. He needs a 6th base soon. This is running out. Main has ran out. 3rd is running out. 4th base is running out. 5th base, relatively healthy. 6th base is a necessity. 86 workers, a little bit high if you ask me. The worker count is a bit too high. This gold base could be important, but could also just not come into play at all whatsoever. Because I think Serral's plan here is to actually deny this 6th base for quite a while. We see a very heavy focus here on Banelings, which means he wants to bust positions. Like, he's not really building into an army that is great in late games necessarily. Once there's going to be like 45 workers for Clem, this Baneling army is just going to suck. Let's face it. 9 SCVs. Nah. I'd rather have Clem not rebuild those SCVs at this point. Orbital count is at what? 6? Plenty, no? Do we need more? I don't think so. I think 6 is a good number here. I'd even go as far to say that 6 is a perfect number here. And anywhere else as well. Because 6 is equal to the sum of its dividers. 3, 2, and 1. 6 is the first perfect number. The second perfect number is 28. A famous Roman emperor once said about the number 6 that... Well, hold that thought. We're gonna have an attack here on the 6th base. No, don't die. Oh, actually, it's the 5th base now. Interesting stuff. Okay, Banelings are going to run away. The 5th base gets built. There is a 6th base that could still kind of move over there towards the bottom side. This feels bad for Clem, doesn't it? It looked so good for him, and then all of a sudden it feels like he's just... I don't think he's dead, but... He's not very alive either, is he? He's not very alive either. This looks kind of bad, honestly. He doesn't have that many units. There's no mines with this army. The tank count is at 3. He still has 6 orbitals, though. Planetary might get taken out. Not might. It's probably going to get taken out. Is going to get taken out. Is dead. And Clem is pretty all in. He needs to deal damage right now, and ideally take out 2 bases here. This is just the start. If he takes out the gold and takes a good fight, then maybe okay, but he probably needs to take out the gold and this base and then have a good fight. So there's like 3 things that I find relatively unlikely. Already taking out this gold base is going to be hard. On top of that, taking a good fight while being down 40 supply is going to be hard. Now, of course, a lot of the supply is still in workers, which is important to note. I'm not really liking it. I am not really liking it. Can we get a scan? Oh my god. He just ran straight into the scan. Head first into a wall there, my friends. Head first into a wall. Absolutely hate to see it if you're an infestor lover. Personally, I don't care so much. Not too big onto infestors. Look a little bit weird. They ruined my my early 20s. Or my late teens, I guess. With being around in combination with the Broodlords. God, I hated those units. Both of them. Look at how toxic the purple gas is, by the way. There's an entire glow around the sensor tower. Does not seem healthy. Blinding Cloud is going to get cast here on top of a sensor tower and missing the tank. Banelings are moving in forward and are going to most likely connect with these ghosts because this bad boy on the high ground, look at him. Absolute MVP of that fight. Throwing out that Fango. I actually kind of want to see that again. That was a really cool move. And I didn't really catch it very well. So let's see where this bad boy actually came from. Look at him. Hop, hop, hop. Pops out of the ground. Like a bad surprise. Right here. Your in-laws on a Sunday morning. And boom, just like that. Absolutely destroys the Terran army. And we'll be heading into our 4th game. And that, my amigos, indeed brings us to game number 4. Here on, on Waterfall. Huh. Pool first coming out of Serral again. He really likes his pool first, doesn't he? Tricks up his sleeve. Or perhaps just pool first up his sleeve. Which is not that good of a thing to have up your sleeve, I think, against Clem. It's like playing a game of poker and having like a 6 up your sleeve. I'm sure it's going to come in handy at some point, but majority of the time you just wish you put an ace in there. Like if you're going to risk putting a card up your sleeve, you'd much rather have it be an ace than a 6. But of course, the one time you put the ace up there, you're going to get so many 6s. You know, like in the flop, 3 6s. The 4th 6 is up your sleeve. Unbelievable. Life is never fair when you're cheating. SV is going to get bullied away here by these Zerglings. Let's say you're not allowed to see what we're doing here. But the SCV is just coming back. Just trying to at least scout for a 3rd base. That's the beauty of this map, right? Is that you do get to see whether there's a 3rd base or not. I'm so surprised that these links just kind of ran back home. Like, you know the Reaper ain't coming around. Like, it's just a fact. It's a fact of life, even. Clem's just gonna throw it on the 3rd CC. No, he's playing 2 gas. Ooh, 2 gas. Look at that. So we have 2 main build orders here. okay, that's not entirely true. Two main like openers here. You either have the triple CC or you have the double gas opener. Okay, and the double gas opener is usually called a 2-base opener because it starts with 2 base for a bit longer, and then a third CC. Like there's still going to be a fast third CC. It's just not as fast as usual. Important to note. And then you call it slow. It's a little bit if you have people. You know how there's like people that run the 100 meters. Not a lot of people know this, but there's lots of competitions around the world for who the fastest person is. And there's this one fella who's been very good at this for a long time. He's called Usain Bolt. He's one of the fastest men alive. I think it's still the case. I haven't watched running in a while, but he runs very fast. 100 meters, like a sprint. It's an important distance for them, for the runners. Now, Usain Bolt is kind of like the triple CC opener, you know? He's the fastest. He's the fastest triple CC, basically. And then you have some guy running at your local athletics club who's also really fast and the fastest in your athletics club, but he's still quite a bit slower than Usain Bolt. And if you would compare the two, you'd say he's slow, and he would be a 2-base opener in TVZ. This is a fairly long analogy to make a very mediocre point. And I do apologize for that. It will not be happening again. What will be happening again is Cloak Banshees. It's going to get scouted here by Serral immediately. Who's also seeing that Hellions are popping out. That is not a huge revelation, because that's happening 95% of the time in games when there's a Terran and a Zerg player. Here comes the third CC, 4 minutes and 26 seconds in. This is your local athletics club guy. Very fast, but slow compared to Usain Bolt. Remember that name. We're going to hear some big things out of him in the future. I can tell you that much. Barracks 2 on the way here. And Barracks 3 will also be thrown down. Look at that. At the reactor. Beautiful stuff. This is just classic Terran play. Knowing which buildings to build where and swapping them around. I think this is one of the things when you start learning how to play Terran is absolutely mind-bogglingly annoying. Like you're constantly just having to think of which building creates what add-on. And then you forget and you can't be bothered. You end up with 7 reactors and you don't have the ability to build stim. And your mom comes in and tells you to pause the game. You have to explain to her that online games can't be paused. You start punching your monitor and yeah, life just goes downhill from there on out. You have to start working at your local supermarket to buy a new monitor so you can game again. Yeah, professional gaming career is never going to take off like this. This is the reason why you don't punch your monitor. Or you could just explain your mom that online games can't be paused. Although I feel like these days, I feel like most mothers are fairly aware of it. Just feel like they don't really care about it. It's just something they like to say. Just pause the game. Say, you know it's not possible, Mom. It's like, alright, whatever. I made dinner for you. Better come and eat it. Alright. These Banshee are doing absolutely nothing, by the way. Holy crap. This has been the most unsatisfying harassment round in the world for Clem, where he's just, well, honestly, he's just standing still and doing nothing. Serral is up to 67 works, building 3 more. This is like Serral in prime shape here. Look at this. This is a good Terran map, by the way. Waterfall is supposedly a very good Terran map, but Clem is doing nothing. He's just getting blasted, it feels like, and the game is only 6 minutes and 23 seconds old. Oh, Creep Tumor is going to get taken out here. That's nice, but there's creep absolutely everywhere. There's like 4 different lines of creep right now. 4 active tumors just pushing forward, like in 4 different directions. The only one we're missing here is on the top side. There's 69 workers. There's 2 more on the way. There's upgrades coming in at similar speed as the Clem's upgrades. Like the Baneling speed is going to finish soon as well. I guess there might be a possibility of a combat shield push in the next 20 seconds before Baneling speed finishes, but I don't know, like Serral's looking at this game and basically feeling like he's playing versus the AI, you know? He's gonna hit all of his benchmarks today. This is not it here, Clem. This is not the early game you want to have against one of the most accomplished players in the world. Tank is going to start moving forward here. This is a very dedicated attack. This is a committed attack. Is there a run-by setup? There's no run-by setup. Perhaps it's a bit too much to run by against. I mean, 74 workers already, getting those fast upgrades, getting the Overlord speed on top of that. What is this? Oh, this is the flank. That's the flank here. We have 10 queens out. There's a lot of transfuses available. Queens moving in, wanting to tank some of these tank shots. This is going to get unsieged just as this goes in. Oi, 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 oi. This is absolutely terrible here for Clem. It's going to get pushed back. Queens stay alive. Banshees get blasted as well at the same time. This is such a big win here for Serral. Should probably send out the next wave of creep tumors. Let's take a look what our man is up to right now, taking a 5th base and keeping the money low as well during all of this, which is fairly impressive. Yep, there we go. More creep tumors being sent out right now. I would love to see some more creep spread heading towards the middle, but it's not happening at the moment. The one fun thing is when you're watching Serral is that it doesn't look very fast in a way. Like he's very precise with his mouse, but the screens don't jump insanely quick. It's just that once he's at a screen, he responds to whatever is happening really fast and almost always with the correct decision as well, which is interesting to see. Oh, she's going to push this forward. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Absolutely fantastic. He's going to catch these medevacts as well. I mean, we already see an infestation pit coming out here, right? Now, the one nice thing about Waterfall is that defensively there are some benefits on this map. Wait, is this an Atrax? Oh, no. Oh, yes. How many? Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's an Atrax. Took me a long time to count to 8 there. But this little panel here on the bottom right always annoys me for some reason. I don't know why. It just makes life very difficult. It's not... there's going to be so many Marines, but... I think 1 tank has gone down, 2 tanks have gone down total. The Banshees aren't here, the Hellions aren't here. Like, all of these these supplement units actually add a lot in an Atrax push. The Banshees, you know, just dealing consistent damage against flanks or against anything moving in. The Hellbats can defend tanks very well against Ling flanks. Like, there's just a lot of use for them. Serral is at 37 Banelings, 102 Lings. And here we go, look at that. Being sent in from, well, mainly one angle. Such a good concave here. Part of this fight is going to be off creep. The most important thing is that the tanks end up falling and some banelings stay alive. That is the main goal here, because then you can just say, alright, I still have a lot of larva. I have banelings, so I'll survive. And without tanks, fighting on creep against banelings, well, it's not something I'd recommend ever. Serral does probably want to wait for the follow-up 44 links. Is adding more and more of these banelings once again as well. We're going up to 40 banelings total. I'd love to see just 5 more being morphed in before he decides to attack. Always want to have some backup banes here. Ooh, these get sniped. This base might actually end up falling. 2-2 finishing up as well here for Clem. Clem is flying his 4th base over. He's doing a lot better than I thought he would after that. How bad that initial push went. Look at the sensor tower, by the way. Legit covering half the map. Like, legitimately. Just the active part of the map, that is. Like, this is so important. This entire mid area, this left side area, like any rotation from the 3rd over to basically the middle will get spotted, which is insane, to be quite frank. This sensor tower position is pretty awful, but we'll forgive Clem for it. Could have just built it up here. Would have been fairly safe as well, and would have seen a lot more from the top side, but it is what it is after all. No +3 on the way yet here for our French Terran player. Clement de Planche, I think he's called. De Planche. A little bit of a fight here in the middle. No tanks on this high ground, which is odd to see. Oh, no way. Is there actually going to just push in here and say adios? Still 3 tanks. A lot of them are just chilling here in the natural. A lot of damage is being dealt here. 10 workers being taken out, 14 workers being taken out, 15 workers, 16 workers being taken out. Orbital Command needs to lift immediately. This is feeling really, really bad here for Clem, who's going to be forced to attack across the map right now. Does not have any extra upgrades coming in. He's building SCVs. I understand that he probably thinks he needs SCVs, but I think the only thing he can actually do is just build units and go, go, go. It's really the only way he has to win. There are not that many banelings in this army, but the tanks aren't even siege. Full on pickup. One of these medevacts. 2 of these medevacts are going to end up sniped. I think one of them was full. I'm not quite sure about the first one that got sniped. Didn't quite catch that. Yeah. These eBays, what do you want to do with it? You want to get +3, but can't afford it. No, now he can. Wonder if he's ever going to get armor. 66 workers against 85. Vipers are out. And this is a good map to attack fort bases on, I think. This is definitely a map where you can do that. The tank count is still extremely low. So Clem starts putting some pressure on the far left here. It's interesting to see that he believes he can still be, you know, kind of forward on the map. In my mind here, Serral's just going to set up again and he'll send it. He'll send it once more, this time with 2 Vipers that he's kind of, you know, getting some energy with. He's saying, all right, get my Vipers. I mean, if he can cast 2 Blinding Clouds and he catches 2 tanks in that, that's half the tank count gone. And this one, like, there's always going to be 1 tank not in position as well. In this case, going to be the tank over here. Abducts as well. Rather than just Blinding Clouds, he says, I want to actually kill them. Keeping that tank count low. Baneling's moving forward here. There's not a single tank in position. This one hasn't sieged up yet. One in the back is sieging up right now as well. Orbital Command will live. The command center on the right side, I don't think even got cancelled here. More and more units on the way. Lurker then being constructed as well. Carapace level 3 is about 75-80% done right now. As more tumors are going to get sniped here. Clem still on the ropes. Still struggling to stabilize. Still struggling to get a 5th base up. 14 minutes into the game. And that is not something that you'd like to see if you're a Terran player. His late game unit count is non-existent as well. There's not even a single Marauder out yet on the map. That's not entirely true. There's 3 Marauders out on the map, but practically no Marauders out on the map. There's some Liberators coming in. Oh my god, Medevac will get sniped here. Abduct comes in, and GG gets called immediately. Clem says, that is it, my good friend Serral. Here you have to win 3-1. And Serral takes it and says, I appreciate it, buddy. Better luck next time. And we'll see. Maybe next time Clem manages to win. Completely possible. All right. This is going to be it for me today. Thanks so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for more videos. Because that is how YouTube works. Bye-bye.